And what we're going to try and do today is make a sample stud frame. It's a skills exercise for those learning basic skills for joinery or carpentry. I hope you enjoy it. It isn't very long, so try and listen to the whole clip in order to make the product. Well done, guys. Hi guys, this is Shed Hacks and we are doing our next clip on a little skills project for the older students, I suppose, those learning to do some basic carpentry and joinery skills. And the idea is we're going to follow this sort of design here I've done in CAD, 2D design, and I've drawn it out there beforehand to get some ideas. There's some simple arithmetic we've got to do to establish some of the sizes on the actual stud work, and that's what it is, some sample stud work. And let me have a look here. So what can I tell you? You've got all the markings for the housing or rebate joints carefully marked, and they're marked on both sides of the timber. That's really important. This is a symmetrical piece of work, so you can see that I've kept the symmetry between the two pieces here and here, and that's the way to do it, guys. Mark it up together, then you can check. And then there's got the side rails here, or the side jambs they're called, and the header rail there, and the sole plate here. And then this will go in there, and this is the piece that is sitting in the middle position there. So you can see it sort of from that format there, and that will go in there, if you can see. I think that helps. So as I say, a bit of skills work using this studding, standard size studding using construction. We'll use the tenon saw to make our cuts, and we use the tri-square to make our marks using obviously a sharp pencil. And what I will probably do is with the tenon saw and the bench hook, I will probably make a cut just on the inside of the line there, on the waist side of the line, and one there, and then I'll probably put a cut or place a cut every 10 millimeters across, and then I can chisel it out using a bevel edge chisel with the wood clamped on a bench hook in a vise. As you know, there's our woodworking vise there. For the moment, that's the beginning of the clip. So I think to start with, if the students or the shed hackers, whoever you may be, get your materials marked out following these designs. I'll just hold it there so you can see the design. Okay, and if you follow these designs, they're both the same, that's a bit clearer, I suppose. Put your markings on the timber and then proceed with the cuts. And I will do another clip showing perhaps a little bit of the cutting work, okay? But it should be fairly self-explanatory, really, in many ways, once you've done the marks following these designs, okay? Make sure you've got a nice sharp tenon saw and you've got a good vise to use. Good working vise, if I can get it out. And that's it, I think. No more to add. Thanks very much, Shed Hackers. Okay guys, so I'm going to just show you the first rebate joint, okay? Obviously this is our stud work I've tried to show you in the last clip, and that's got to be let into here, and there's going to be another piece let into here and here, and I'm just going to show you one rebate being cut. So I've cut these already with the tenon saw. Let's narrow that blade. There you go. And I've done the same in all of these. I'm just double checking them down to that depth there. And then actually, if it doesn't break easily, which it won't, you can take it out of the bench hook. Because sometimes you can actually use the blade, for an example here, and it will break across there. And you can just take out the pieces. So it can work quite well like that. I don't recommend that if you've got a very expensive saw. And if you are going to do it, obviously make sure you've got the permission of the person that owns the tool, if you like. But that gives you quite a straight base there, you can see. I'm going to do the same with this one, so that won't come out very easily. Okay, so that's fine. And I'm going to use the bevel edge chisel at a slight angle there. One. Don't need goggles, but if you've got bits of wood flying around, perhaps just make sure you are just being careful And the technique is you take out half this side, remove the waste as you go, and then you can turn your timber around, place it in the vise, obviously above the vise jaw, or the vise jaws, and again, here we go. And I think you should, if you've done your work precisely, you can just clean it up. If you just show that there. I've got a new helper today, Freddie, helping the camera work. Jake's doing his GCSE exams. Hope he's done well in his physics today. As I say, this project really is for those perhaps learning basic skills in the trade skill of carpentry and joinery. This is a really good introduction, I think, to some stud work. Not that stud work doesn't use rebating, but some of the finer or the better quality work inside some of the housing you see does still use it. Of course, you can put screws, zinc screws in, countersunk screws in as well to make sure it's nice and secure. But on the sole plate and on the header, sometimes on a piece of stud work, the sole plate being at the base and header being at the top, you do still see this now and again. And it's, like I say, it's good skills, a good skill to learn. Often those sort of skills seem to be disappearing, hence you do see some rather unusual quality work in houses. And that should fit perfectly. Now let's see if it doesn't. I'll just get my mallet, so woodworking. Avoid using hammers. Oh yeah, that's going to go well actually. So that, can you see? I know I've got the wrong bit of timber in there. But that is a precise, can you see that? That's a precise piece of work. And what we want to avoid is any gaps at all. Keep to the tolerances, keep to the quality control side. So Freddie, just pan onto that drawing there. You can see, so keep to these accuracies. You can see the rebate 3D drawing I've done there. I'm going into the base piece here 15mm, and that's what I'm going to keep to in all the joints. So I'm just going to knock that out, Freddie. There you can see, and the same there. That one's a little looser, it's still tight. Okay, that one's very tight. Keep them as tight as you can within reason. Okay, that's the basics. Let's just go for the tools. Bevel edge chisel, mallet, tri-square, make a mark all your right angles there. They have to be done precisely, and this has to be placed on the side of the timber so it slides on. You get a really precise mark. Plus or minus ½ mm you want to work to really. Bench hook, bit of equipment rather than tool. You could use the quick grip here if you wanted to do some chiselling at the side of a bench, which I do recommend actually sometimes, because you don't always have access to a woodworker's vise, and on site you may not have a bench quite like this in a vise, and you'll find that this is a safe way of holding your work and just taking off the last pieces. Freddie, if you just pan in there, you can see how accurate I've made that. Okay, watch out for any small knots in the wood, obviously where branches have come out. That there is going to cause a problem if I'd have actually done the joint over the top, so I've avoided it. That there, although small, that knot will cause a few issues potentially. Oh, I've got to do some check my marking out there. But symmetry is what it's all about, so that'll be the next one. Make sure they're exactly the same. So mark out the top and the bottom together, and mark out the middle rails together. So these should be the same. Whoops. What have I done here? Oh, and I've got two different pieces. So if I turn that round. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? One of these is right. And they're marked out together. That knot there, can you see in the timber, is going to cause some problems with the cutting. So I have to be really careful. And I probably have to cut possibly 2 to 3 times there to make sure that when I cut out the base of the rebate, it is really quite accurate and smooth. Okay, so yes. And of course, any studding with knots in it is actually a weak point. So if you've got studding which has lots of knots in it, avoid it. And also can cause it to warp, change shape, which is not great in time. We don't want walls which are wandering, do we? Okay, so I think that's it. I did the bevel edge chisel. Obviously keep that nice and sharp. That needs a little bit of a touch up there, I think. And the slipstone. And you've got your ruler and your tape measure and your mallet and so forth. And I think for the beginning of the project, that's it. I'll come back to another clip with it completely made, and then we can review perhaps how it's gone. Okay guys, thanks. Okay guys, there you have it. I've added in an extra rebate here because I think I'm going to add in another piece there just to test my own skills. So I've added all the rebates necessary to make the job. As you know, it came from this drawing here, materialised from that drawing there, and I did a little CAD drawing there. And here is the outcome so far. So I've tried to make sure it is as precise as I can. Let me just show you some of the principles. To put my hand across the camera. I just want to make sure, look, can you see it's dead square? Everything is dead square. Can you see? You slide this across. Dead square. And the same would apply, hopefully, for the top. There's a little trick. You can hold your finger at a certain distance from the end of the pencil, and you can draw a little line there and just check things are correct. That's quite a little trick I show people. Okay. All the rebates are 15 millimeters. Can you see? 15 millimeters. You can see that there. So sizes, you've got 150 here. This little piece here is 55. The gaps in between here should be 40 and 40 again. And then these end ones are 50. And this one here should be 50, yeah, there. And the same here. So the timber, I noticed, is slightly varied. The section of the timber, the section being this part here, section, does vary a little bit, by a millimetre in some cases. So this actual material here, let's just have a look at it. If I can lean it against here, is 60, nominal, 61 even, by 36, 37, possibly 38. So it does vary a little bit. So when you're doing your marking out, guys, just double check that actually the size of timber you're using are relatively consistent. That means one piece is similar to the next piece you're using. It does vary. And you may have to do a little bit of fine tuning, a bit of chiseling and extra tenon saw work to get the precision you want. It's so important, I noticed, to have this bevel edge chisel here very, very sharp. Keep that tip very sharp there, you can see in the sun. And to have completed the chiseling, the rebating here really precisely. Got a few little saw marks there. But I was right, these knots caused a really big problem in getting the precision. So the knots in the timber, if you've got any, I think for this sample piece, perhaps avoid them. Or you could tell your adult supervisor, you know, how you worked around them. So there it is. I'm going to add another piece in here to test my own skill and add another smaller but shallower rebate there. That will probably be only 5 millimetre. And I'm going to add a piece in there. Perhaps make it even more exciting to make, if that's the word, challenging to make. So I hope you've enjoyed the set of videos. It's been a good one to show you all, I think, for this sort of introduction to carpentry and joinery, using this section of wood for studding. And this would be seen to be the first fix part of carpentry joining, okay? Putting in the initial walls, the first studding panels and pieces for the internal fittings to the walls. Okay, come back to you with other clips possibly later.